All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Sarabjit Kaur. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Golden Jubilee celebrations of Assam's Agradoot group of newspapers this evening. India's service sector activity in June records highest growth in 11 years. Toy exports in the country go up by 61% over 3 years. Imports decline by 70%. Odisha, Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh emerge as top 3 states in first state ranking index for National Food Security Act. ED files 5,000-page charge sheet against Jharkhand cadre IAS officer Pooja Singhal in money laundering case. Fifth accused in Udaipur beheading case arrested, sent to NIA custody till July the 12th. Boris Johnson government in UK suffers setback as 2 top ministers Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid resign. Sweden and Finland sign accession protocols with NATO. India hold China to 1-1 draw in FIH Women's Hockey World Cup 2022 and Novak Djokovic storms into the semi-finals of Wimbledon Tennis Championship. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Janotsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. Recalling our yesterday's question, a Tingal revolt, which is considered to be one of the first organized revolts against the British imperialism in India, took place in which year? The correct answer is 1721. The successful resistance started off with the killing of around 140 British soldiers by the people of Athingal. Emboldened by the success, the natives laid siege to the Anjutengu fort, which was the first of its kind establishment of the British East India Company in the region. The siege continued for almost 6 months. The origins of the revolt can be traced back to the unethical trade practices of the East India Company and their lack of respect for the native culture and traditions. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Vasant Kumar N. Hittangi from SBM Colony, Bengaluru, Karnataka.
My name is Vasant Kumar N. Hittangi. I am from Bangalore, Karnataka. Under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, All India Radio is doing yeoman service by introducing not only the known freedom fighters, but also hundreds of hitherto unknown freedom fighters. I compliment All India Radio for doing this excellent educative initiative. I have been listening to All India Radio for the past 60 years. Jai Hind.
The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with the listeners on Monday, the 11th of July. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in Amrit Mahotsav quiz with AIR News. And now, the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Golden Jubilee celebrations of the Agradoot group of newspapers at 4:30 p.m. today through video conferencing. Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, who is the chief patron of Agradoot's Golden Jubilee Celebration Committee, will also be present on the occasion. Agradoot was started as an Assamese bi-weekly. It was established by Kanak Sen Deka, senior journalist of Assam. In 1995, a daily newspaper, Dainik Agradoot, was started and it has developed as a trusted and influential voice of Assam. India's services sector logged its fastest growth in over 11 years after June month's service activities improved further as per the S&P Global India Services Purchasing Managers Index PMI survey. The seasonally adjusted S&P Global India Services PMI Business Activity Index rose from 58.9 in May to 59.2 in June, its highest mark since April 2011. This growth rate is the highest since April 2011 amid ongoing improvements in demand conditions, even as cost pressures in the service economy remained stubbornly high.
For the 11th straight month, the services sector witnessed an expansion in output. In Purchasing Managers Index (PMI parlance), a print above 50 means expansion, while a score below 50 denotes contraction. Government has said that toy import has decreased by 70%, while exports have gone up by 61% in the last 3 years, as Make in India yields positive results for the sector. Anil Agrawal, Additional Secretary of Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, said that government interventions have helped in the toy sector after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's call in his Mann Ki Baat edition in August 2020.
आइए मिलकर खिलौने बनाएं। अब सभी के लिए लोकल खिलौनों के लिए वोकल होने का समय है। आइए हम अपने युवाओं के लिए कुछ नए प्रकार के अच्छी क्वालिटी वाले खिलौने बनाते हैं। खिलौना वो हो जिसकी मौजूदगी में बचपन खिले भी खिलखिलाए भी। हम ऐसे खिलौने बनाएं जो पर्यावरण के भी अनुकूल हो।
Mr. Agrawal highlighted that Mr. Modi had given a clarion call on rebranding the Indian toy story and emphasized on the availability of the right kind of toys for children as a learning resource, designing of toys based on Indian value system. He stressed that ToyViz has attracted 96 exhibitors with Made in India products manufactured domestically by small, medium and large enterprises.
Odisha, Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh have emerged as top 3 states in the first state ranking index for National Food Security Act (NFSA). This ranking index attempts to document the status and progress of implementation of NFSA and various reform initiatives across the country. Consumer Affairs Minister Piyush Goyal released the first edition of State Ranking Index for NFSA in New Delhi yesterday. Among the special category, Tripura stood first in the ranking, followed by Himachal Pradesh and Sikkim. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Goyal said that India is now 100% connected under One Nation, One Ration card. He said that 45 crore transactions have taken so far, providing the beneficiaries the freedom to collect ration from any state and UTs in the country. Terming One Nation, One Ration card as a revolutionary step, Mr. Goyal said this initiative supported migrants during the COVID pandemic.
45 crore transactions have happened under One Nation, One Ration card. तो आप समझिए 45 करोड़ लोगों को ये लाभ मिला कि वो किधर भी अपना अनाज ले सकते हैं, सिर्फ अपना अंगूठा लगा के। और खासतौर पे कोविड में जब प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना के तहत दुगना राशन मिल रहा था, मुफ्त में मिल रहा था, द माइग्रेंट लेबर ऑल्सो बेनिफिटेड वेरी सिग्निफिकेंटली फ्रॉम दिस वन नेशन वन राशन कार्ड.
Enforcement Directorate or ED has filed a charge sheet against former Jharkhand Mining Secretary Pooja Singhal and others as part of a money laundering probe against her and those linked to the IAS officer. The ED submitted the 5,000-page charge sheet before a special PMLA court in Ranchi yesterday. The federal agency has named Singhal, Suman Kumar, a chartered accountant allegedly linked to her, and few others in the charge sheet. A report.
Enforcement Directorate has filed a charge sheet under Section 3, 4 and PC Act of Money Laundering against suspended IAS officer Pooja Singhal in the Special Court of Prabhat Kumar Sharma yesterday. The ED requested the court to take cognizance of the charge sheet and issue the process of a trial in this case. Singhal, a 2000 batch IAS officer, was arrested by the agency in May this year as part of a probe linked to alleged embezzlement of Manrega funds during her tenure as Khunti DC and some other alleged suspicious financial transactions. Shilpi, AIR News, Ranchi.
NDA presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu exhorted MPs and MLAs of the country to vote in favour of her candidature in the upcoming elections. Addressing leaders of alliance partners of NDA in Patna, Ms. Murmu assured that she will perform her duties within constitutional limits.
मैं भारत की बेटी हूँ, इसीलिए भारत के सभी सांसद, सभी विधायक को मैं आग्रह करना चाहूंगी, इस बेटी को एक बार भारत माँ की सेवा करने के लिए मुझे मौका देंगे। मैं आप लोगों के सहयोग से संविधान के दायरे में रह करके भारत माँ की सेवा करने के लिए मैं प्रयास करूंगी। मैं अपने आप में मुझे तो विश्वास है, आपको मैं निराश नहीं करूंगी।
Earlier, Draupadi Murmu held meeting with senior JDU leader and Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. Besides meeting with Mr. Kumar, Ms. Murmu also held meeting with MPs and MLAs of NDA allies to seek their support in the upcoming elections.
Jammu and Kashmir government has approved the implementation of crop insurance schemes, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana and restructured weather-based crop insurance scheme in the Union Territory. The decision was taken in a meeting chaired by Chief Secretary Dr. Arun Kumar Mehta of State Level Coordination Committee on Crop Insurance yesterday for the implementation of crop insurance schemes in Jammu and Kashmir. The committee also approved the modus operandi to be adopted for the successful implementation of these schemes in J&K. The scheme will cover paddy, maize, oilseeds, wheat, apple, saffron, mango and lychee crops. Dr. Mehta emphasized the need for providing insurance cover to the farmers against crop loss due to various weather vagaries.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Golden Jubilee celebrations of Assam's Agradoot group of newspapers this evening. India's service sector activity in June records highest growth in 11 years. Toy exports in the country go up by 61% over 3 years. Imports decline by 70%. Orissa, Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh emerge as top 3 states in first state ranking index for National Food Security Act. ED files 5,000-page charge sheet against Jharkhand cadre IAS officer Pooja Singhal in money laundering case. 5th accused in Udaipur beheading case arrested, sent to NIA custody till June 12th. Boris Johnson government in UK suffers setback as 2 top ministers, Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid, resign. Sweden and Finland signed accession protocols with NATO. India hold China to 1-1 draw in FIH Women's Hockey World Cup 2022 and Novak Djokovic storms into semi-finals of Wimbledon Tennis Championship. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कॉम्पिटिशन्स की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो आपके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो लाया है कार्यक्रम अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछते हैं सवाल 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करते हैं abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर, जिसके जवाब एक्सपर्ट देंगे शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे। इस बार का विषय है ज्योग्राफी यानी कि भूगोल और प्रश्न भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 6 जुलाई। आपके सवालों का हम कर रहे इंतजार। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the morning news on All India Radio. The 5th accused in the Udaipur's tailor Kanhaiya Lal murder case was produced before the special court in Jaipur, which remanded him to NIA custody till 12th of July. Mohammad Mohsin was arrested by NIA for his alleged role in the recce. 4 accused, including 2 main assailants, Riaz and Gaus Muhammad, and 2 others, Mohsin Khan and Asif, for their alleged role in conspiracy and recce, are already under 10-day NIA remand. Kanhaiya Lal Tailor was allegedly beheaded by the 2 main assailants at his shop in Dhan Mandi area of Udaipur on the afternoon of 28th of June. Both the accused, Riaz and Gaus, were arrested from Bhim in Rajsamand district by the state police on the same day. Mumbai and other parts of Maharashtra have been experiencing heavy to very heavy rains since last few days. Met Office has said that heavy rain is likely to continue in the region till this weekend. NDRF teams have been kept in high alert to tackle any emergency situation. More from our correspondent.
Mumbai experienced heavy rains yesterday, leading to disruption of normal activities in the city. In the last 5 days of July, Mumbai has received almost 70% of average July rainfall of nearly 700 millimeters. Though last night the intensity of rain decreased to some extent, but there is heavy rain forecast for the day. Red alerts have been issued for 6 districts of the state today, including Raigad, Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg, Kolhapur and Satara. Devapriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
Coastal Karnataka continues to receive copious rainfall, bringing normal life to a standstill. India Meteorological Department has issued orange and yellow alerts for coastal Karnataka. Meanwhile, the Chief Minister has called a meeting of Deputy Commissioners of districts affected by heavy downpour to review the situation. More from our correspondent.
The district administration in Udupi, Dakshina Kannada and Uttara Kannada districts have declared holidays for schools. Landslides were reported at Anmod Ghat due to heavy rainfall. Travelling was hindered between Kadasa and Horanadu and many bridges were submerged. Several trees were uprooted in and around Mangaluru. Houses were damaged in Dakshina Kannada. The power supply is disrupted due to heavy downpour and tree falling. Several rivers are flowing near the danger mark. People living next to river banks have been asked to shift to safer places. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
In Kerala, the IMD has issued a yellow alert in 8 districts in the northern and central regions of the state today. Intermittent heavy rains continue to batter the districts of Kasaragod, Kannur, Kozhikode and Malappuram since yesterday. The district authorities have declared holiday for schools today in Kasaragod and for all educational institutions in Kannur. The Indian National Centre for Ocean Information Services has warned coastal residents and fishermen to remain alert in view of the possibility of waves rising up to 4.2 meters along the Kerala coast till 11:30 p.m. tomorrow. It said public should avoid visiting beaches or entering the sea during this period.
And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. All India Radio News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
6th of July 1837 is the birth anniversary of R.G. Bhandarkar, who was one of India's pioneer social reformers and first Orientologists. He reconstructed the political history of the Satvahans of the Deccan and the history of Vaishnavism and other sects. As a great social reformer, through his researches, he castigated the evils of the caste system and child marriage.
Bhandarkar became a member of the Paramhans Sabha in 1853, where he was inspired by the lectures of Keshub Chandra Sen. In the year 1866, in a public meeting, he took a public pledge to eradicate the social evils of child marriage, the caste system, and to promote the education of women and widow remarriage.
Thus, to attain the objectives, R.G. Bhandarkar, along with M.G. Ranade, helped found the Prarthana Samaj in 1867. As an educationist, he was elected to the Imperial Legislative Council in 1903 as a non-official member. Gopal Krishna Gokhale was another member of the council.
R.G. Bhandarkar was also the first Indian Vice-Chancellor of Bombay University and the first Indian to be awarded an LLD degree by the university in 1904. Justice Ranade had a great respect for Dr. Bhandarkar. Ranade said,
Dr. Bhandarkar's stature is no less than the great leaders of Brahmo Samaj. He's not just an eminent scholar, he's greater than that. He's a guide. He has been an example by himself and a teacher from whom we receive the best instructions in our life.
Dr. Bhandarkar left this world on the 24th of August 1925. We salute the great nationalist.
We also remember freedom fighter and crusader of social justice Babu Jagjeevan Ram on his death anniversary. Born in Bhojpur, Bihar, Jagjeevan Ram played a very active role in the freedom struggle. He became a legislator at the young age of 28 in the year 1936 as a nominated member of the Bihar Legislative Council. When the Congress government was formed in 1937, Jagjeevan Ram was appointed as the parliamentary secretary. However, in 1938, he resigned along with the entire cabinet.
Inspired by Gandhiji, Jagjeevan Ram courted arrest on the 10th of December 1940. He was again arrested on the 19th of August 1942 for his active participation in the Quit India movement. After his release, he became the youngest minister in the interim government in 1946. He also served as a member of the Constituent Assembly of India.
Post-independence, Babu Jagjeevan Ram went on to serve as a minister with various portfolios for the next 30 years. His contribution to the Green Revolution in India is still remembered. The great nationalist leader left for his heavenly abode on the 6th of July 1986. AIR News salutes the great son of the soil, Babu Jagjeevan Ram.
We also remember martyr Sadhu Singh, who was born on the 6th of July 1921 in Kapurthala, Punjab. Sadhu Singh was a sepoy in the Bahawalpur infantry of the British Indian Army. Following his capture by the Japanese forces in Singapore in 1942, he volunteered to join the Indian National Army there. He confronted the British forces in the battlefields of Ipoh, Pegu and Rangoon. Sadhu Singh lost his life while fighting on the Burmese front in 1944. We salute this brave martyr.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said that in the last 8 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi always advocated for neighbourhood first policy. Participating at a discussion on Modi at 20 Dreams Meet Delivery in New Delhi yesterday, Dr. Jaishankar said the vision of the Modi government is towards development and prosperity of the entire neighbourhood. He said transformation is taking place in every sphere, be it in power, road, tunnels and waterways. Dr. Jaishankar said India has stepped up in assisting Sri Lanka, which is facing economic crisis. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will visit Bali in Indonesia on 7th and 8th of this month to participate in the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting. During his visit, Dr. Jaishankar is expected to hold several bilateral meetings with his counterparts from other G20 member states and invited countries.
The UK's Finance Minister Rishi Sunak and Health Minister Sajid Javid have resigned from Prime Minister Boris Johnson's government. Both are key members of Johnson's cabinet and their resignations are major blows. Mr. Sunak in his letter said that he is sad to be leaving the government but has come to the conclusion that he cannot continue like this. Mr. Javid said he has lost confidence in Johnson's ability to govern in the national interest after a series of scandals, saying he could no longer continue in good conscience. He said that many lawmakers and the public had lost confidence in Johnson's ability to govern in the national interest.
Sweden and Finland signed the accession protocols at the NATO headquarters yesterday. The signing was held in the presence of Finnish Foreign Minister Pekka Haavisto and Swedish Foreign Minister Ann Linde. A report.
The signing comes days after the trilateral memorandum between Turkey, Finland and Sweden. Turkey had initially opposed the Nordic countries' entry into the group, alleging that the two nations are providing shelter to Kurdish separatists. Turkey lifted its opposition at the trilateral summit in Madrid last week based on certain conditions. The signing of the accession protocols marks the start of the ratification process. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg terms the signing as historic.
This is an historic day for Finland, for Sweden, for NATO and for Euro-Atlantic security.
The development is significant coming in the backdrop of the Ukraine conflict. Russia opposes the eastward expansion of NATO and Finland is Russia's neighbor. Mr. Stoltenberg said that NATO's door remains open to Europeans as they face what he termed as the biggest security crisis in decades. Anita Anand, AIR.
News Services Division of All India Radio in the program Spotlight will bring an exclusive interview with High Commissioner of the United Republic of Tanzania to India, Anisa Kapufi Mbega. Talking to AIR News, High Commissioner of the United Republic of Tanzania to India, Anisa Kapufi Mbega said, Tanzania is a key strategic partner of India and both the nations share a close cultural and trade relations.
India is an important friend and a key strategic partner of Tanzania over the decades, and our cooperation extends from trade, investment, training, cooperation on international fields, including matters related to the United Nations, exchange of top leaders' visits, line of credits, especially for water projects in Zanzibar and Tanzania mainland, grants, etc. India is also among the top 5 trade partners for Tanzania for the past 5 years.
This interview can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:15 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.
On to sports, India were held to a 1-1 draw by China at the FIH Women's Hockey World Cup 2022 at Amstelveen yesterday. Jiali Zheng gave China the lead in the 26th minute before Vandana Kataria equalized for India in the 45th minute. India drew 1-1 against Tokyo Olympics bronze medalist England in the tournament opener. India will play New Zealand in their final pool match tomorrow. In cricket, England have defeated India by 7 wickets in the rescheduled 5th Test match at Edgbaston in Birmingham yesterday. An unbeaten stand of 269 runs between Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow for the 4th wicket helped the hosts chase down a 378-run target in the 4th innings. This is their highest successful chase in the final innings of a Test. Defending champion Novak Djokovic has stormed into the semi-finals of Wimbledon Tennis Championship. He defeated Yannick Sinner of Italy 5-7, 2-6, 6-3, 6-2, 6-2 in London last night. Djokovic will now face Britain's Cameron Norrie for a place in the final, which will be played on Sunday. Djokovic is bidding to go level with Pete Sampras as a 7-time Wimbledon men's champion. That would put him just one off Roger Federer's record of 8.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The Tribune writes, India-Iran to activate new shorter corridor to Russia, adding New Delhi wants Chabahar port under INSTC ambit. With 44 locations of Chinese companies searched, ED raids Vivo offices in money laundering probe, reports the Economic Times. Under the headline, Nupur case, veterans criticize SC's remarks. The Statesman cites a letter by retired judges, bureaucrats and armed officers saying top court surpassed Lakshman Rekha and called for urgent rectification steps. The Times of India reports Green Dream by 2030, every app-based cab in Delhi may be an electric vehicle. Cell Therapy Cancer Center takes shape in Bengaluru, trials are on, cites the Indian Express. And finally, an inbox story in Hindustan Times mentions about the country's military aviation history with a photograph of Air Commodore Sanjay Sharma and Flying Officer Ananya in uniforms under the headline, Fighter Pilot Father-Daughter First in Indian Military Aviation to Fly in Formation.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Golden Jubilee celebrations of Assam's Agradut group of newspapers this evening. India's service sector activity in June records highest growth in 11 years. Toy exports in the country go up by 61% over 3 years. Imports decline by 70%. Odisha, Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh emerge as top 3 states in first state ranking index for National Food Security Act. ED files 5,000-page charge sheet against Jharkhand cadre IAS officer Pooja Singhal in money laundering case. 5th accused in Udaipur beheading case arrested, sent to NIA custody till 12th of July. Boris Johnson government in UK suffers setback as 2 top ministers Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid resign. Sweden and Finland sign accession protocols with NATO. India hold China to 1-1 draw in FIH Women's Hockey World Cup 2022, and Novak Djokovic storms into semi-finals of Wimbledon Tennis Championship. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.